Hey YouTube, Lance here, and welcome to GLBT News 101. Okay, first thing I wanted to talk about Brazil. Um, they recently had a federal ruling decision that they would no longer ban acceptance of same-sex marriage, and that all jurisdictions, all of the 27 states in Brazil would have to hand out marriage certificates or in same-sex marriage, same-sex civil union certificates. Um, the only thing that's not completely done is that a lot of the GLBT community in Brazil really want to get a a constitutional amendment protecting same-sex marriage. So while recognition of same-sex marriage is happening in Brazil throughout the entire country, um, the process is not 100% done, but it's still huge progress. So we'll change that one to pink. And another thing I wanted to talk about is Paraguay. They actually had was misinformed. They actually do not have protection under the laws to protect. They don't have any anti-discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identification. Um, and so that's why I'm switching it to the light blue, which, as you know, is other countries like Turkey, India, and Italy, and Mongolia up here. They are the countries that they don't have any legal rights for the GLBT community. However, they are progressing towards them. Um, so I mean, there's starting to be a culture of acceptance in Paraguay, but and Bolivia. Another thing I want to point out: while there are some protections for the people of Bolivia over here, there was recently, I think it was 2012, there was a transgender woman that was mobbed down, was chased by a mob, was burned, tortured, and beaten and to death. And despite it happening during broad daylight, no police action was ever taken. No suspects or anything was really happening as a result of that. So there are legal laws protecting some rights of the GLBT community against discrimination. However, their enforcement is not 100% accurate, which is kind of the same thing is going on over here in Iraq. You can top right here. Excuse me. Um, for that, I just wanted a quick note on that, as well as going back to our United States map regarding marriage equality. Um, Illinois has recently passed. I believe it was in their state um, Senate. They passed marriage equality. However, they're having trouble gathering the support for the votes to vote for marriage equality in the Illinois State House of Representatives. And however, the last day they can pass marriage equality is May 31st, so it is under crunch time. So whether marriage equality will pass this year or whether they will have to start from scratch next legislative session is still unknown. Still highly likely they'll still send it up to vote regarding um, same-sex marriage in Illinois before the end of the session, but it is still unknown. The creators of the bill believe they have. They're feeling confident that they have enough votes. However, it's still unknown. As well as Ohio, a little bit more information about the ballot measure. Freedom, Ohio, is currently collecting signatures. They have until July 3rd to be able to have enough signatures to which would be 10% of the elected to 10% of the previous elections population that voted. Um, and if provided 10% of that population votes that yes, they want to put on the ballot, they can put it on the ballot as soon as this November. They're having an election this November in 2013. However, odds are that they will not want to put the ballot measure for same-sex marriage equality on the ballot this year because of the time frame to have a large campaign of awareness like they did in Minnesota. And a couple things I want to point out in Minnesota. A lot of people failed to point out that in Minnesota, the ballot measure that would have put a constitutional amendment banning same-sex marriage in Minnesota was a very unique. Minnesota has a very unique structure of um, voting on constitutional amendments. The majority of people have to vote yes, and any lack of votes, any people who leave the question blank, any of those votes are counted as a vote no. Um, and in Minnesota, I think the percentage was within 1 or 2% of the voting electorate did not fill out yes or no, so all their answers automatically went to a vote no. So, to consider that Ohio could bring up to a ballot measure um, by this November, I think that would be a little um, unrealistic in expectations. However, if they had a sufficient amount of time to campaign, ideally by November 2014 or next year's election, there's a possibility. Um, as well as Oregon, they're also they just recently had a federal judicial court rule that same-sex marriage, that banning same-sex marriage is unconstitutional. However, they do have written under their state's constitution, states excuse me, they have it written under their state's constitution that they allow the ban on same-sex marriage. So whether that will have any impact on the Supreme Courts when they make a ruling, I believe they might have some impact that California and now Oregon both have members of the Supreme Court system declaring that bans against same-sex marriage is unconstitutional. So again, we'll have to wait for the ruling on that coming up in sometime in June. I believe it's late June now. Other than that, hope you guys found this video informative, educational, and thought-provoking. If you have any questions, write them down below, as well as if you want to stay up to date on all GLBT news, current events, and information, educational videos throughout the world. Please hit that subscribe button and like button, and thanks, and have a great day. Bye.